What's up, everybody? We're back for another episode. And on today's episode, I'm going to go over the fat loss tier list officially. Now, before I get into the list, I noticed that tons of you that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So we're really looking to grow our YouTube channel in 2025 here at CBG. It takes 2 seconds, maybe 3 max, to click that subscribe button so that you get notified whenever I produce and we post some of these free videos for you guys to reach your goals. So go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, obviously, we know fat loss is important for a number of reasons. It helps us with our gymnastics proficiency, getting maybe that first muscle up. It also helps us look and feel super confident in the way that, we present ourselves both at our CrossFit gym, at our job, in the mirror. And so fat loss can be extremely important. And I know a lot of you have a fat loss goal for 2025. Some things are very important for fat loss and some things are not. And so as you could see with the tier list here, we're going to start with the S column, which is godlike. You absolutely have to be doing this if you want fat loss. Next is the A category, which means this is likely the best way for you to reach your fat loss goals in an efficient way. B, yeah, you could incorporate it or not. It's likely going to help, but it's not going to make or break whether you actually lose weight. C, take it or leave it. D, I would pretty much avoid this if you're looking to reach your fat loss goals. And F absolutely does nothing for you in terms of fat loss, and in some cases is actually detrimental to you losing body fat. So let's get into it. Number 1 is fat burner. You guys know these developed in the 1990s. A pill, you buy them from local store, very commonly bought at gas stations. Fat burners do absolutely nothing. You can take them and waste your money, or you can spend it on some other supplements that I'm gonna go here on the tier list. Wait for the end because some of the supplements I'm gonna present to you are gonna be the most important. Now with the fat burners themselves, they're just a waste of money. They're not gonna do anything detrimental to you. I'm not gonna put them in the F column, but they're absolutely not necessary and they're not gonna help you with fat loss. Fat burners are gonna go in the D category. Next, BCAAs, or branched chain amino acids. Now, we know that protein is super important if we wanna reach our goals. It's the most important macronutrient if you're doing 4 to 5 watts per week. However, branched chain amino acids are just singular amino acids. We need a plethora of amino acid and amino acid variety, especially those essential amino acids, if we're going to reach our goals of building muscle, building strength, and losing body fat. And so branched chain amino acids are like basically trying to build a car with only half the parts. Therefore, branched chain amino acids are not really useful for anything, much less fat loss. And so even though they're not detrimental to our fat loss goal, they're not really gonna help. So I'm gonna put them in the D category with the fat burners. Next is nutrient timing. Now, nutrient timing can be important for a variety of reasons. If we eat at the right time, it can help give us enough energy for our WODs, push during our workouts, and as you guys know, I'm a big fan of intra-workout carbs, which are carbohydrates that are easily digestible we can have in the middle of our strength versus our WOD that help give us that extra boost of energy. Now, nutrient timing isn't absolutely necessary for fat loss because there are more important things, but you can use nutrient timing to your advantage, especially when it comes to timing protein for recovery and carbs for energy. I'm gonna put nutrient timing in the B category of the tier list. Incorporate this, learn the right things. We actually have a nutrient timing guide. I can give it to you if you go over to Instagram and comment the word WOD timing. You can DM me directly those 2 words and I will send it to you entirely for free. Next is a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit is very important, but I want to explain why. Calories in versus calories out, also known as the CICO model. It's basically designed and is thermodynamics. There's no contesting it. How much you eat versus how much you burn dictates your weight. It doesn't necessarily dictate your body composition. You could eat a calorie deficit in all broccoli. You're going to lose muscle, right? That's not a good thing. When it comes to a calorie deficit, that's absolutely important for losing weight, but not absolutely important for losing fat. And so that's where the macronutrient distribution and breakdown becomes just as important as a calorie deficit. However, you're not going to lose body fat if you're not in a calorie deficit. It is impossible. And so first actual component I'm mentioning in the S-like tier, godlike, is a calorie deficit. Absolutely need to be in a calorie deficit to see fat loss. So make sure you understand your caloric intake, how to monitor this, either tracking or through portion sizes and developing your own blueprints, which is what we do here at CBG. Understand that you're in a calorie deficit. Now, if you're somebody that has tried multiple things on your own and have been unsuccessful losing body fat, and you want to maybe learn more about doing something different, you want to be courageous, and you want 2025 to be your year, go ahead and click the link below in the description. You can learn more about our program, what we offer, and see if we can help you lose body fat with the right amount of accountability without tracking macros. Next is protein. So protein is a macronutrient we've gone over. Very, very important. We need protein to be able to recover from our WODs and just keep improving over time, especially if you're someone that wants to not lose strength as you lose body fat. So for me personally, I'm putting protein in the A category. It is the most important macro, especially if you're doing 4 to 5 watts per week. So please find a way to prioritize this macro before you do anything else if you're looking to make a change in 2025. The next category, creatine. Now, creatine itself, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of. It is the best performance supplement out there, especially if you're doing strength training and high intensity interval training, which most of us are doing. Now, creatine is not absolutely necessary to lose body fat, but it's going to help you push further in your WODs. It's going to help you recover better. You're going to hit more intensity at the gym, which, as we know, affects our ability to lose body fat. Creatine, I'm going to put in the A category. It is the best performance supplement out there, undisputed king. Next, protein powder. Now, as we went over before, protein is very important, but how important is protein powder? The thing with supplements, such as protein powder, is they should be filling a gap between what you get in your diet versus what you get from the supplement. Now, that's an important distinction because a lot of supplements out there are scams because you can directly get them from food. In this case, protein powder aids as a supplement in helping us hit our protein goal. So you could hit your protein goal without incorporating protein powder. You could just eat real food from protein, and therefore protein powder is not absolutely necessary for fat loss. However, it's going to help you more easily hit that protein goal, as I mentioned. So I'm going to put protein powder in the B category. I really feel like this is a great supplement that most of us should be taking. It's good to get into the habit of drinking it post-workout, help with recovery. It goes in a B category for me. Next is cardio. Now, cardio, we do burn calories doing cardio. The problem with cardio is that a lot of people incorporate it for short stints of time to lose weight, but they stop doing cardio and they don't fix anything else about what they're doing. It just increased their activity level. What happens when we stop doing cardio? The weight comes back on. Also, cardio is very fatiguing, especially if we're going out there, we're going for 3-mile runs every morning just to burn some extra calories. It's very fatiguing on the body. It's gonna take away from some of the strength and some of the other WOD intensity stuff that we do. So for me, I'm gonna put cardio in the C category. It can definitely help, but it's not gonna be the end all be all for you reaching your fat loss goals. The next category that I wanna go over is strength training. Opposite the cardio, it's very interesting, but doing strength training, we don't burn as many calories as we do doing cardio. Time equated. With strength training, we are building muscle. Building muscle over time is going to allow for our basal metabolic rate to increase, and a higher basal metabolic rate allows for us to burn more calories over time at rest, which is key. Muscle is a very expensive metabolic tissue where you want to use this to our advantage. And so for me, I would rather see people incorporate more strength training than more cardio for fat loss. And therefore, I'm putting strength training in the B category. Next, carbs. Carbs are extremely important for energy. They are our WOD energy, as I like to call it. And so to have enough WOD energy is important because when we have enough WOD energy, we want to go to the gym, we want to push hard, we burn more calories, we build more strength, we put more weight. Amazing. So carbs are important, but you can't go over on carbohydrates than what your body actually needs to put on unwanted body fat. Exact opposite of what we want when we're targeting fat loss. Carbohydrates are important. I'm going to put them in the B category. They're not as important as protein for fat loss, but they are very important. You can't eliminate and go low carb and expect to lose body fat long term. So find a strategic amount of carbohydrates that fit your body weight, your height, your age, your activity level. I would start with 1.5 grams per pound of body weight if you're doing 4 to 5 watts per week. Next, fats. Fats in general are great. They're a great calorie buffer. Why? Because fats are 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbohydrates are only 4 calories per gram. Therefore, eliminating 20 grams of fat from your diet is a lot more calories than eliminating 20 grams of carbs. I love fat for both hormone health, energy levels, especially sustained energy levels long term, a host of other things, especially for women out there. And so you need healthy fats in your diet. Now, when it comes to fat loss, making sure you're manipulating your fats up and down is going to allow for you to manipulate your calories in a way that put you at the deficit needed, which we know is important because the calorie deficit we mentioned is in the S-like category. For fats themselves, they're inherently fat burning. In fact, in a calorie surplus, fat is directly stored as fat. It doesn't need to be converted into anything else to be stored. So I'm going to put fat along with carbs in the B category. It's not as important as protein, but you can use it to your advantage strategically, just like carbs, in order to lose the body fat that you want. Next, apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar does absolutely nothing. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because there are so many other things I want to go over that are going to be important for you guys. And so I'm putting it straight in the D category. It's not going to affect or be detrimental to you losing body fat. However, it's not going to be good. It's not going to help. It's worthless. There's no need to take nasty apple cider vinegar shots in the morning to lose body fat. Next is sleep. Okay, so sleep is super important because that's how we recover, point blank. If there was one thing that helped improve recovery, build muscle, lose body fat, improved your mood, improved your ability to be more thoughtful throughout the day, smarter, better libido, it's sleep. It does it all. Sleep is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself, and monitoring sleep and make sure you get enough is going to help with everything in life. Sleep is going in the S-like category along with calorie deficit. It's absolutely critical if you're looking to lose body fat so that you have the energy to do what you need to do throughout the day, be successful, and literally crush life. Never underestimate sleep. There's nothing cool about getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep at night. Make sure you prioritize this as much as possible. Next is food quality. What do I mean by this? By food quality, I mean carbs. So let's take that for example. There are many different types of carbohydrates. For example, banana is a carb, but also a cookie is a carb. Let's say there were 20 grams equated. 20 grams for the banana and 20 grams in the cookie. They're both the same amount of calories. They're both the same amount of carbohydrates. That's what I mean by food quality. How important is food quality for fat loss? Two things that I want to consider here. One, banana is going to be a lot more nutrient dense. It's going to fill you up longer and you're going to feel better and not feel the urgency to push out of your calorie deficit and overeat. If you eat the cookie, it's the opposite story. And so therefore, what I'm going to recommend is that food quality be in the B category. It's important for fat loss, but to the extent that you deviate off of your plan because you're eating too many cookies, overeating later because you're not satiating yourself with the right nutrients that you need. B category for food quality. The next thing that I'm gonna go over is cheat days or cheat meals. We can put them in the same category because they're basically the same thing. And when it comes to cheat meals, they can be very strategically utilized. And when it comes to recovery, we need it. We need to make sure we're eating enough calories. And so there's a way to delineate between cheat meals and cheat days to utilize them to your benefit. Now, incorporating too many cheat meals and too many cheat days and giving yourself this excuse that you need more food is not good. And so I think cheat meals and cheat days are really overrated. Now, you can take dieting breaks. Dieting breaks are where you actually intentionally bump up your calories, especially after 4 to 6 weeks of predictable fat loss so that you can start to see some improvement. I'm gonna put cheat meals, cheat days in the C category. Not absolutely necessary for fat loss, but can be a tool if you're 4, 6, 8 weeks into fat loss and you need a small dieting break in your actual structure of your day. Next, alcohol. Pretty self-explanatory, but this is gonna be the first F for me. When it comes to fat loss, alcohol is absolutely detrimental for a variety of reasons. Number one, the calories associated with alcohol push us out of our calorie deficit. Number two, our prefrontal cortex is significantly altered when we drink alcohol, our decision-making part of the brain. Now, this means we tend to eat more, binge eat, you guys know, pizza late at night, all the other stuff you do when you overdrink, it's not good. Now, in addition to that, your prefrontal cortex is still altered the next day. You're making poor decisions with food then, and you're not going to the gym, you're hungover, you're missing workouts. There's nothing probably worse, I would say, for your overall body composition than alcohol. It's going in the F category. Completely avoid or find a moderation strategy, couple drinks per week. That's it, that allow you to stay consistent on your calorie deficit so you can lose body fat. Absolutely detrimental to fat loss, F category. Next, intermittent fasting. Very controversial, but I don't think intermittent fasting is sustainable long term. I think it's glorified binge eating. Fasting is where we don't eat for a significant part of the day. Since we haven't eaten for a significant part of the day, we can eat the majority of our calories later. And what people end up doing here is they end up binge eating or overeating because they haven't eaten all day. They're picking the wrong selections. They're not able to hit that protein goal, which we know is super important and is in our A category of our tier list. And so therefore, I don't think intermittent fasting is good for fat loss. I'm gonna put it in the C category. Some people have had success with it. I certainly don't recommend it if you're working out in the morning There's no way you're going to get proper fuel that you need to reach your goals, but it can help people establish the deficit. So there's a trade-off. I'm going to put it in the C category. Next, steps. So this is actually interesting because steps in general are great. They help us improve our overall NEAT, which is our non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically, the things we move around throughout the day that aren't exercise, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And this is why steps have become very popular. Great for cardiovascular health, improving there. They do help. Obviously, we are burning calories when we're walking and we're getting an accumulation of steps, but it's not necessary for fat loss. It's a trade-off. I'm actually going to put it in the B category. I think it's better than cardio. Can be on the same playing field as strength training, and I would definitely try to incorporate more steps for things that you need to do throughout your day and just make things easy. It's certainly less harsh on the body, cardio is, and so that's why I'm recommending it over cardio, but it's just a lower intensity form of cardio. So steps for fat loss can be good. I wouldn't put it in the B category, and if you're somebody that gets 2,000 steps a day, you're going to really have to focus on diet a lot. So that's why I say steps and improving them over time can be really important for fat loss. The last category, tracking macros. As you guys know, here at CBG, we help people lose body fat, build muscle, crush their wads without tracking macros. Now, it's not to say that tracking macros isn't a good start. We can learn a lot about, oh wow, like I really can't feel like I can hit my macros or the total amount of food I need to eat within a day if I eat 2 to 3 cookies, because it just doesn't feel filling or satiating to us. And some of these principles a lot of us don't know until we actually track. Tracking macros can be a great start for fat loss, and if people have had several success stories tracking macros and actually incorporating it for fat loss. I want to talk about sustainable fat loss. I don't think anybody's going to track their macros forever. It really starts to feel like a part-time job, playing macro Tetris every day, and you're not really building any habits. I don't recommend tracking macros for the long term, but in the short term, it can be pretty beneficial. I'm actually going to put it in the C category. I recommend it probably over a lot of other things that people do for fat loss because it's helping you moderate calorie intake. As we know, deficit in the S-like God tier for losing fat. However, it's not necessary to lose weight. It's not necessary to track every gram of food to actually lose body fat. And it's also not necessary to track every gram of food to know your calorie intake. And so if you're somebody that's interested in learning how to lose body fat without feeling super stressed about food and tracking every single gram of food that you eat so that you can finally be consistent in your calorie deficit and lose body fat without losing your strength and crushing your wads, go ahead and click the link below in the description. You can learn more about our program and what we do here at CBG, a lot of the success stories around people that have struggled for years and then finally found a solution working with us. If you have any questions for me, my team, you always can feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video. I got some good topics coming up for you guys soon, and so I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.